Hello, welcome to part 132 of the Daily Bread. We'll begin reading Numbers chapter 27, 2 Kings chapter 17, Psalms 128, Proverbs 12, and starting Romans chapter 1. We'll be in the Scriptures 2009. Numbers 27 is on page 172. And then came the daughters of Cephalad, son of Hepher, son of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, son of Joseph. And these were the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Hogad, Michaela, and Tirsha. And they stood before Moshe and Eleazar the priest, and before the leaders of and all the congregation by the doorway of the tent of appointment, saying, Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not in the company of those who were met together against Yahweh in company with Kehor, who died in his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be removed from among his clan, because he had no son? Give us possession among the brothers of our father. Moshe then brought their case before Yahweh. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, The daughters of Cephalad speak what is right. You shall certainly give them a possession of inheritance against their father's brothers, among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, When a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brother. And if his father has no brother, then you shall give his inheritance to the nearest relative in his clan, and he shall possess it. And it shall be to the children of Israel law of right ruling, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go up into this Mount Ararat, and see the land which I have given the children of Israel. And when you see it, you also shall be gathered to your people, as Aaron your brother was gathered. Meaning, because you rebelled against my mouth in the wilderness of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, you set me apart at the waters before their eyes. These were the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. And Moshe spoke to Yahweh, saying, Let Yahweh, the Elohim of spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation, who goes out before them and comes in before them, who leads them out and brings them in, so that the congregation of Yahweh be not like sheep without a shepherd. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Take Joshua, son of Nun, with you, a man in whom is the Spirit, and you shall lay your hand on him, and shall set before him Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him command before their eyes, and shall put some of your esteem upon him, so that all the congregation of children of Israel obey him. And he is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire before Yahweh for him by the right ruling of Urim. At his word they go out, and at his word they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, in all the congregation. And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded him, and took Joshua, Yehoshua, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before the congregation, and laid hands on him, and commissioned him as Yahweh commanded by the hand of Moshe. 2 Kings chapter 17 on page 401. In the 12th year of Ahazar, sovereign of Judah, and in the 12th year Ahazar, sovereign of Judah, Hoshea the son of Elah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria for 9 years. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, but not as the sovereign of Israel, not as the sovereigns of Israel who were before him. Salmanar, sovereign of Ashur, came up against him, and Hoshea became his servant and rendered him a present. But the sovereign of Ashur found a conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to sovereign of Misraim, and had not brought a present to the sovereign of Ashur, as year by year. And the sovereign of Ashur shut him up and bound him in prison. And the sovereign of Ashur went through all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it for 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the sovereign of Ashur captured Samaria and exiled Israel to Ashur and settled them in Halab, the harbor of the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Midianites. Now this came to be because the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh, their Elohim, who had brought them up out of the land of Misraim, from under the hand of Pharaoh, sovereign of Misraim, and feared other mighty ones, and walked in the laws of the nations whom Yahweh had disposed from before the children of Israel, and of the sovereign of Israel that they had made. And the children of Israel secretly did against Yahweh, their Elohim, matters that were not right. And they built for themselves high places in all their cities, from watchtower unto a walled city, and set up for themselves pillars and asherims on very high hill and under every green tree, and burned incense there in all the high places, like the nations whom Yahweh had removed from their presence. And they did evil matters to provoke Yahweh, and served to idols, of which Yahweh had said to them, "Do not do this." And Yahweh warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and every seer, saying, "Turn back from your evil ways, and guard my commands and my laws, according to all the Torah which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets." But they did not listen, and hardened their necks, a stiff-necked people, like the necks of their fathers, who did not put their trust in Yahweh, their Elohim, and rejected his laws and his covenant that he had made with their fathers, and his witnesses, which he had witnessed against them, and went after worthlessness, and became worthless, and after the nations whom all around them, of whom Yahweh had commanded them not to do like them. And they left all the commands of Yahweh, their Elohim, and made for themselves a molded image, 2 calves, and made an Asher, and bowed themselves to all the hosts of the heavens, and served Baal. This does not end well. And caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and practice divination and sorcery, and sold themselves to do evil in the eyes of Yahweh, to provoke him. So Yahweh was very enraged with Israel, and removed them from his presence. None was left but the tribe of Judah alone. Judah also did not guard the commands of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the laws of Israel which they made. And Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and gave them into the hand of plunderers, until he had cast them out from his presence. And he tore Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam son of Nebat sovereign. And Joram drove Israel from following Yahweh, and made them commit a great sin. And the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They did not turn away from them, until Yahweh removed Israel from his presence, as he spoke by all his servants, the prophets. So Israel was exiled from their land to Ashur, as it is to this day. And the sovereign of Ashur brought people to Babel, and from Cuthal, and from Awa, and from Hamath, and Samaria, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they took possession of Samaria and dwelt in its cities. And it came to be at the beginning of their dwelling there, they did not fear Yahweh, and Yahweh sent lions among them, which were killing them. And they spoke to the sovereign of Ashur, saying, the nations, lions, tribe of Judah, right? Okay. And they spoke to the sovereign of Ashur, saying, the nations whom you have removed have placed in their cities of Samaria do not know the right ruling of the Elohim of the land. And he has sent lions among them, and see, they are slaying among them, because they do not know the right ruling of Elohim of the land. And the sovereign of Ashur commanded, saying, send one of the priests whom you exiled from there to go there. Let him go and dwell there, and let him teach them the right rulings of the Elohim of the land. And one of the priests whom they had exiled from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how to fear Yahweh. But every nation was making mighty ones of its own, and put them in the houses on the high places which the Sumerians had made. Every nation in the cities where they had dwelt. And the men of Babel made Sukkot, Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Negurl, and the men of Hamath made Ashim, and the Abites made Nahaz and Targar. And Shiphites burned their children in fire to Amalek, and to Amalek the mighty ones of Samir. They feared Yahweh, and from every class they made for themselves priests of the high places, who offered for them in the house of the high places. They were fearing Yahweh. They were serving their own mighty ones. According to the ruling of the nations, from among whom they to be exiled. To this day they are doing according to the former rulings. They are not fearing Yahweh, nor do they follow their laws or their right rulings, or the Torah and command which Yahweh had commanded the children of Jacob, whose name he made Israel, with whom Yahweh had made a covenant and commanded them, saying, do not fear other mighty ones, nor bow down to them, nor serve them, nor slaughter to them, but Yahweh, who brought you up from the land of Mizraim, Egypt, with great power, with an outstretched arm, him you shall fear, and to him you shall bow yourselves. To him you shall slaughter, and guard to do forever the laws and right rulings and the Torah, and the command which he wrote for you. And do not fear other mighty ones, and do not forget the covenant that I have made with you. And do not fear other mighty ones, but fear Yahweh, your Elohim, so that he delivers you from the hand of all your enemies. And they did not obey, but did according to their former ruling. So these nations were fearing Yahweh, and served their carved images, both their children and their children's children, as their fathers did. They are doing this to this day. Psalms 128 on page, 129, 129 on page 721. Often they had distressed me from my youth. Let Israel now say, often they have distressed me from my youth, but they have not overcome me. The plowers plowed on my back. they made their furrows long. Yahweh is righteous. He has cut the cords of the wrong in two. Let all those who hate Zion be put to shame and turn back. Let them be as the grass on the housetops, which withers before it grows up. That shall not fill the reaper's hand, nor the sheaves fill the binder's bosom. And those who pass by shall not say, The blessing of Yahweh be upon you. We have blessed you in the name of Yahweh. Proverbs 12 on page 739. Proverbs 12. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. The good obtains favor from Yahweh, but the man of wicked devices he declares wrong. A man is not established by wrongness, but the root of the righteous shall not be moved. A capable wife is the crown of her husband, but one causing shame is like rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are right ruling. The counsels of the wrong are deceit. The words of the wrong are lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the straight delivers them. The wrong are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous stands. A man is praised according to his wisdom, but the perverted of heart becomes despised. Better to be lightly esteemed and have a servant than to be highly esteemed who lacks bread. The righteous regards the life of his beast, but the compassion of the wrong is cruelty. He who tills his land is satisfied with bread, but he who pursues vanities is lacking heart. The wrong shall covet the catch of evildoers, but the root of the righteous yields fruit. In the transgression of lips is an evil snare, but the righteous gets out of distress. From the fruit of his mouth one is filled with good, and the work of a man's hand is given back to him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who listens to advice is wise. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a clever one covers shame. He who speaks declares righteousness. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. Rash speaking is like piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is healing. The lip of truth is established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of those who plot evil, but counselors of peace have joy. No harm befalls the righteous, but the wrong shall be filled with evil. Lying lips are an abomination to Yahweh, but those who deal truly are his delight. A clever man is concealing knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims folly. The hand of the hard worker rules, but the lazy one is put to compulsory labor. Anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes him glad. The righteous is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wrong leads them astray. The lazy one has no game to roast, but the hard worker prizes his possession. In the way of righteous is life, and in its pathway there is no death. I'm going to start off Romans chapter 1 on page 1090. Shaw, known as Paul as well, a servant of Yahweh, a servant of Yeshua Messiah, a called emissary, separated to the good news of Elohim, which he promised before through his prophets in the set apart scriptures concerning his Son, who came to the seed of David according to the flesh, who was designated Son of Elohim with power according to the set apart Spirit, by the resurrection from the dead, Yeshua Messiah, the Master of us, though through whom we have received favor, blessing, and office of the emissary of belief, obedience among all the nations on behalf of his name, among whom you also are called ones of Yeshua Messiah. To all who are in Rome, beloved of Elohim, called, set apart ones, favor, blessings to you, and peace from Elohim our Father and the Master Yeshua Messiah. First, I truly thank my Elohim through Yeshua Messiah for all of you, that your belief is spoken of in all the world. For Elohim is my witness, whom I serve with my spirit in the good news of his Son, how unceasingly I make mention of you, always asking in my prayers, if at all possible, I shall be blessed by the desire of Elohim to come to you. For I long to see you, so as to impart some spiritual gift to you, for you to be established, and that is, to be encouraged together among you, each by the other's belief, before ours and mine. I do not wish you to be unaware, brothers, that I am often purpose to come to you, but was hindered until now, in order to have some fruit among you, as also among the other nations. 14. I am a debtor both to Greeks and to foreigners, both to wise and to foolish. That is why I am so eager to bring the good news also to you who are in Rome. For I am not ashamed of the good news of Messiah, for it is the power of Elohim for deliverance to everyone who believes in the Yudai first, and also of the Greek, and also to the Greek Jews first. For it is the righteousness of Elohim and is revealed from belief to belief, as it was written, but the righteous shall live by belief. For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all wickedness and unrighteousness of men, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. Because that which is known of Elohim is manifest among them, for Elohim has manifested it to them. And since the creation of the world, his invisible qualities have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, both his everlasting power and mightiness, for them to be without excuse, because although they knew Elohim, they did not esteem him as Elohim. Sorry, lost track there. 20. I'll read 20 again. For since the creation of the world, his invisible qualities have been clearly seen, being understood for what has been made, both his everlasting power and mightiness, for them to be without excuse. Because although they knew Elohim, they did not esteem him as Elohim, nor give thanks, but became vain in their reasoning, and their undiscerning heart was darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools, and changed the esteem of the incorruptible Elohim into the likeness of an image of corruptible man, and of birds, and of four-footed beasts, and of reptiles. Therefore Elohim gave them up to uncleanness in the lust of their hearts, to disrespect their bodies among themselves, who changed the truth of Elohim into falsehood, and worshipped and served what was created rather than the Creator, who was blessed over forever. Amen. Because of this, Elohim gave them over to degrading passions, for even their woman exchanged natural relations for what is against nature. And likewise, the men also, having left natural relations with women, burned in their lust for one another, men with men, committing indecency, and receiving back the reward which was due for their straying. And even as they did not think it worthwhile to possess the knowledge of Elohim, Elohim gave them over to the worthlessness mind, to do what was improper. Having been filled with the unrighteousness, whoring, wickedness, greed, evil, filled with envy, murder, fighting, deceit, evil habits, whispers, slanderers, haters of Elohim, insolent, proud, boasters, devisers of evils, disobedient to parents, without discernment, covenant breaking, covenant breakers, unloving, unforgiving, ruthlessness, who, though they know the righteousness of Elohim, that those who practice such deserve death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.